Hey there guys, it's the Tech It Tutor, and right now I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on what's going to be happening in this series. Now, the doing of the controversial topics last time was the legalization of marijuana. That seemed to be a hit with you guys, so I figure I'll just continue doing more topics of controversy and see where that gets me. I'm hoping it's not just the topic of marijuana that got all those views. Hope it was just the controversy. I'll give you guys more credit than a bunch of potheads, but alright, so today I'm going to start off with, do violent video games cause violent behavior? This is a huge question among parents in modern society. Should you let your kid play Call of Duty, or will that encourage violent behavior? Now, on games like COD, I don't feel like the video game causes violent behavior. It's very arcade style to it. But then again, games like Grand Theft Auto, I would say definitely that 100% encourages violent behavior. There was a famous psychologist by the name of Albert Bandura, and he did this experiment he called his Bobo doll experiment. And in this, he got a whole bunch of kids. There was 36 boys, 36 girls. And what he did in this experiment was he exposed they separated the kids into 8 groups, first of all. And then they exposed some kids to friendly behaviors with this Bobo doll. And if you don't know what a Bobo doll is, it's like a weird rubber inflatable clown thing. It's heavy in the bottom, so it never gets knocked over. That's the gist of it. Like, you can hit it and it'll always pop back up. So half these groups were exposed to violent behaviors in regards to this Bobo doll, and the other groups were exposed to friendly behavior with the Bobo doll and the other toys available in the playroom. Now, the kids were separated and they were exposed to this individually, so they couldn't be influenced by each other. And then what they did is they allowed for the kids to go in to the playroom where the Bobo doll was located, and they got to play however they wanted. They got to choose. They didn't even have to play with the Bobo doll. There was a variety of other things they could be using. Now, the kids who were exposed to friendly behavior with the Bobo doll, many of them treated the Bobo doll friendly in a nice way, and a lot of them just ignored the Bobo doll altogether. Now, the kids that were exposed to the violent behavior in regards to the Bobo doll, they went on to beat the crap out of that thing. They went as far as to find other toys in the room that they could use as weapons and just go to town on that poor Bobo doll. So, a lot of people think that being exposed to violent behavior will cause violent behaviors to the person who is exposed, and Albert Bandura more or less proved that. Now, there are arguments against his experiment. A lot of people say that the kids could have just been emulating the adults, because there have been other experiments that declare that children will emulate adult behaviors, and for the most part that is very true. I mean, kids do emulate their parents, but I personally think that exposure to violence will lead to violent behaviors. Like in movies as well. Have you ever seen like an awesome fight scene in a movie and you get all riled up and you think it would be like a cool idea to get into a fight yourself, but that's just you becoming violent after being exposed to violent behavior. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is a pretty large controversy in society right now, and that is gay marriage. We have a lot of societies in our school that are all based around tolerance and all that fun stuff. They call it like Harmony Club or something like that. I think they're kind of annoying. They get in your face about it, and nobody in my school is really against homosexuality, bisexuality, transsexuality. No one really cares. But the rest of America does, so let's get into it. Gay marriage. I don't see the problem. They're really is no problem in my eyes. I don't see why a lot of Republicans will argue against gay marriage, saying that it's wrong, and it is their personal belief that it is wrong. But I mean, if you ask them why they think it's wrong, it probably has a lot to do with their religious affiliation. And the last time I checked, church and state were supposed to be separated. So they should not be voting against gay marriage based on their religious beliefs. Gay marriage does not hurt anybody. Some may argue that, it's going to give tax breaks to more couples because they're married. But I don't think that's why most gay couples want to get married. You don't get married because of tax breaks, guys. You get married because you love each other. And if two people love each other, who are we to say, hey, you guys can't get married? It's wrong. It is extremely, extremely intolerant, and I think it's wrong. So that is my opinions on that. People can be pretty cruel about that. I don't personally see it as an issue. Like, if you don't support it, ignore it. Like, it's not your business if somebody's married to somebody else. And also, a lot of politicians nowadays, they're voting on their own personal agendas. They vote for their personal beliefs. Say, a politician nowadays would say, I don't agree with gay marriage, therefore I'm going to vote against it. Now, what a good politician would do would be, they'd say, okay, I don't personally agree with gay marriage. However, would it be for the good of the country? If so, then maybe I should vote for it instead of voting for my personal agenda. See, politicians nowadays, they shouldn't be voting so much as what they believe themselves, but rather what they believe will be for the good of the country. And I know I have some subscribers from out of country. I'm from the United States. I'm not sure how the situation is over in Europe. I'm pretty curious as to see what kind of views on homosexuality people have in other countries, because I think we're getting to a point in the United States where it is acceptable. It should be acceptable. People might argue that it's biologically wrong because of the fact that we're supposed to be marrying and finding mates for the progression of our species, as in we should be finding mates of the opposite gender that we can then reproduce with, pass on genes, mix the gene pool, and have more generations in our species. However, I came up with a theory of my own that involves the role of homosexuality on the furthering of the human race. And many of you know that there's a pretty significant amount of orphans in the United States. I don't know the statistics for around the world, but I'm sure there must be lots of orphans from other countries. China specifically, they don't much care for their girls over there. So maybe the homosexual race was created out of biological need to further the species by adopting and nurturing these kids who otherwise would not have parents. So that is an argument against people who say that homosexuality is biologically wrong. So I don't know what you guys think about that. You don't have to agree. It's just a opinion of mine, and I'm not saying that it's the correct one. Once again, it's just a theory, just throwing it out there. And one more little tidbit I want to talk about before this video ends is age important in relationships? I just saw this topic online and I kind of wanted to touch upon it. So I would say when you are younger, say high school, middle school, age definitely matters in relationships, because when you are of that young age, you are walking dangerous lines of statutory rape and other charges like that. It's just not good to mess around with somebody who's significantly younger or older than you. Like, try to stick to your own age. There's a book called The Bro Code. I don't know if any of you have ever read it. Great book. It provides tips on how to be a bro, and one of the tips is the equation for the youngest age you should date, and I think it is your age divided by 2, and then you can add 7. So in my case, I'd be 17 divided by 2, that's 8.5, and then you add 7. So let's see, 15.5. That's even a little young for my taste. I wouldn't do that, just because age of consent in Massachusetts is 16, and you don't want to get messed up in the whole legal system here. The legal system has a tendency to really screw people over if you get messed up with the wrong family. So yeah, that's my view on age and relationships. If you get older, a bigger age difference is not a huge deal. I know my parents were like 9 or 10 years apart, but when you're like 30 or 40 years old, think about the age difference as a percentage of the amount of life that you've lived. 10 years when you're much younger is a much greater percentage difference from the age that the amount of time that you've lived, but when you're older it's less significant. Alright, and last thing I want to touch up upon was the Feed the Beast series that I did. It's kind of like a challenge game for the Technic Pack. Didn't get many views, and I didn't particularly enjoy playing it. So if you guys have... Wow. Big cave, alright. So if you guys have no oppositions to it, I'm gonna, like, stray away from that series for a bit. Not really into it. I think what would be fun is if I did, like, a random game series. I was thinking I could do a playthrough of classic Game Boy Color Pokemon games emulated on the PC. Whoa, guys, Rubber Tree. I don't know if you guys remember, but I could not find a Rubber Tree for 2 full 15-minute episodes of this series. So, back to Pokemon. So yeah, if you guys would be interested, I know everybody should like Pokemon. It's a blast to play, and I think it'd be fun to commentate it. So if you guys would like that, just let me know, and I'll probably make it regardless if I get any comments or not, and just see how it does on YouTube. Well, I think I'm about to reach my upload limit, or I have already surpassed it, so yeah, like and subscribe if you like this video, and I'll definitely be bringing you more soon. Thanks, guys.